Hello guys, thank you for tuning in to my channel. My name is Anthony and I welcome all of you today. I hope that you're well and I pray that your week has been okay. So in our today's episode, I'd like just to give a prophetic insight on a very important topic or a very important subject which I think is good for Kenyans to understand, and especially if you are a young person, this will greatly benefit you. So today I want to talk about the Gen Z, especially focusing on them, but just to any young person, but with a focus on Gen Z. And the reason why I want to speak about it is just to bring some clarity. Okay, I want to shed light on what God is doing with this generation and what He expects of them, so that if you get this, if you understand this, then you can position yourself to be used of God in this season. Okay, so I want to speak of the role of Gen Z in effecting God's vision or God's plan among the nations. So first of all, I'll speak about the Gen Z in Kenya and their role within the country, and I will also speak about the Kenyan Gen Zs and the role that God wants to use them for to the nations of the world. So, as I have mentioned time and number again, God is doing a new thing in Kenya. God wants to do away with the old corrupt systems, and He's bringing in a new system in terms of leadership that is for the people. God wants to put in a leadership that focuses on servanthood, leadership that is based on integrity, and leadership that promotes justice. So He's correcting the foundation of this country, and there are certain errors, there are certain cultures and habits that we picked from the wrong elements in this country, and these are things that politicians have used to disadvantage the other citizens. And therefore God is bringing sweeping changes within this country, and He has decided to use the Gen Zs to stop this movement. So what is the role of Gen Z in Kenya with respect to what God is doing? They are the voice that God is using to correct the wrongs in Kenya. He has equipped this generation with wisdom, with intelligence, with courage and boldness, that they are able to perceive what is wrong in society, they are able to call it out, and they are able to demand for justice and fairness. So when you see them being vocal, okay, as young people, and all they're speaking about or their language is regurgitating around good governance, okay, and just leadership, this is not men thinking. This is God who is provoking them to demand for these things. When you saw them going to the streets, this was not a creation of man. This was God who was evoking them to do that. Whenever you see there is an influx of this demand of change, that is a spiritual wave. There is a wind that sweeps across this nation. Okay, if you're spiritual, you're able to pick it up, that demands for justice and accountability and good governance. So God will use them to demand for change and to be bold enough to address the corrupt individuals head on. And among this group, we also have up and coming young leaders, which also extends to the millennial group and the ones that came before them. So there is a total system overhaul of the way things have been done in Kenya, and this is God who's doing it. So it's not about the current president, it's not about any one individual. This is a thing that has to do with change. When it is time for change, it is time for change. You can be doing something good You might have good intentions, but the timing is wrong. It was just not your time, because there's what is your calendar and then there's what is in God's calendar. So in God's calendar concerning the nations, it is time for change. The world is in preparation for the coming of Christ, and as Christ is coming, what he's doing now is preparing the nations to receive him. And for the nations to receive him, there must be order. There must be a resemblance of the systems of heaven operating on earth. That is why he's restructuring leadership across the world. Because if you have good leadership from the top, then the nation aligns to the will of God. Therefore, we're going to see leaders of integrity, leaders who have values and are principled starting to rise up in Kenya. And we're going to see the effect of this generation, especially the Gen Z, becoming more vocal. And the wisdom in this thing, you can see it from the word go. They are called the leaderless tribe. Why? This is God's wisdom. When it is leaderless, it means it can morph. It means no one can stop it. It means there is no one person who can be identified and removed. So when something has no shape or form, you, as the evil force who's trying to oppose it, you don't know where to attack. And that's God's mind. So you're going to see different young people come up in different phases. And even if you have noticed, you have seen that there are very many young leaders coming up, speaking about various things. We saw Morara coming up, exposing this project. We have seen others coming up, talking about the constitutional agenda. We need to have the constitution in school. So we'll see different young leaders start to pop up at different times, speaking on different agendas, because this is God's mind, it is God's wisdom. He has ordained these people to come up at different times, because it is a leaderless tribe. It will morph until the time that God wants this movement to find its shape. So when it is the appropriate time, you're going to see this formation starting to take shape. Right now, it is still in that amorphous shape, because when you see, the Bible talks about there being a right time for everything. There is a time for everything. So there is a time to agitate, there is a time to revolt, there is a time to complain, but there is also a time to take action. So when the time for action comes, you're going to see this movement starting to now take solid shape on the ground. You're going to see the various things that they'll start to do. And it's all by the wisdom of God. You have seen them mobilizing on TikTok and doing their own things without the involvement of the government. And you think this is human intelligence? How can an outfit mobilize by itself this effective if it's not the wisdom of God? So God is using this generation to bring sweeping changes in this land, and no politician will be able to stand in the way. No alliances are going to stop it. No amount of wealth, no amount of intimidation, no amount of tactics. I see the leaders or the politicians now trying to come up with various laws and agenda to try and curtail young people. What I can say to them very boldly is that whatever you're trying to do will not work. This thing has been ordained by God. It has been in the works for the longest time. You're just seeing the manifestation of what has been happening. And you're going to see these moves unfold slowly by slowly. It's like a chess game. When you think you've made the right move, then the other party makes the move, then it's checkmate. So you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot of amorphous leaders that are coming up. And they are young people, and they are agitating for change in different spaces, in different ways, and in different means. But eventually, Kenya will change, because it is not about any one person. It is time for the country to change according to God's will, according to His mind. He has already ordained it. So if you happen to be president at this time, it's nothing personal against you. You were just president at the wrong time. And one thing I've come to understand about God, when God allows you to be in power, it does not mean that you are the choice. No. You see, even in the Bible, King Saul was allowed to be president or to rule over Israel as David was being prepared. Israel needed a king who could lead them in war. King Saul was a warrior. So for that season, he was used to transition them to the leader that God wanted. So God might pick a leader for Kenya, not because that is his choice, no. That person was just convenient for God to perform a certain thing, to change a certain mindset in Kenya, that I can pick a random person and I can allow them to be a leader. So God can use you as a pawn or as a subject, as an example to teach the rest of the nation that it is possible for me to pick anyone and elevate them into power, so that the right leader, when chosen, will not doubt that God can deliver them into that place of power. So for Kenya, God wants to use this generation to demand for change, to bring the change themselves, to identify where the problems are, and to be united in demanding for equity, justice, and fairness alongside the governance of Kenya, or within the governance of Kenya as a country. So apart from God using this generation in Kenya, God is also aligning the spiritual compass of Kenya. He is shaking up the church. He is removing this elitist group of spiritual leaders who have been there, who have made the church a denominational thing. It's like a social club for some few people who come together and then dictate how things will go. So he's removing relevance from these spiritual leaders, and you're going to see very straight cutting leaders who most of them were not even pastors, or most of them have been in business, understand a thing or two about the world, but are now serving God. So God is going to use unconventional leaders who He has removed from the marketplace, He has removed from business, from different places, and has begun using them in the church. He's going to raise up these leaders because they understand how to do God's will without having this religious mindset. You know, when you're in church for a very long time, you start to think like you are entitled to God's things now. So God is changing the mindset of the church, because the young people are not looking for denominations. The young people just want Jesus. And anyone who can point them to Jesus without having to put them in a box, without having to confine their freedom to interact freely with other believers, then young people will gravitate towards that spiritual leader. So we're going to see the church break the boundaries to become more united. And through the church, God is equipping a lot of young Gen Zs, and He is sending them to the nations, because the reason why God is using Kenya is because Kenya is a spiritual gate. Kenya as a country is a spiritual gate within the spirit realm that God uses to conduct heaven's agenda on earth. So He has chosen a lot of young people within this land. He has anointed them with different graces We have people who carry the grace of Jeremiah. We have those who carry the grace of Nehemiah. We have those who carry the grace of Daniel. We have those who carry the grace of Joseph. And we have Deborahs and also Esther's. So there are lots of young people that God has anointed, and He has chosen to conduct His agenda upon the earth, and He will send them to the nations of the world. Okay? So God has His army of young Gen Zs from Kenya, and He is assembling them, He is equipping them so that they can go out to the world to spread His agenda. And you're not going to spread His agenda by preaching on a pulpit. Some of you, yes, but majority of you, God is going to send you to the world because you're competent. You have been equipped with certain skills that make you competent within the job market. Okay? Within the business space, you're able to offer a solution. As an entrepreneur, as a doctor, as an investor, as an engineer, God is sending out young people from Kenya to the world so that you can use your relevance, your problem-solving skills to demonstrate to the world the character, the value, and the mind of Christ. Okay? Because we preach the gospel not by words, but by actions, how we live our lives and how we conduct ourselves. So, the way we have understood church is going to change. You're going to see more church leaders who understand the importance of relevance in the marketplace with a balance on serving Jesus. So, the generation that God is raising up is a generation that can have impact in the world as well as preach Jesus. For the longest time, we've had men of God who have portrayed Jesus in a very weakly manner, in that people associate church with a beggarly mindset. And in the Bible, we see that Paul was a tent maker as well as an apostle. So God has equipped us as people with the skills and the ability to contribute to the growth of nations and the economy. So how do you expect the world to believe that you can solve their problems, that your Jesus can solve their problems, while the only thing you do is to beg for tithes and to beg for offerings, and you're not even able to sustain your lifestyle? So God is raising young leaders, new leaders, the Gen Zs, the millennials, who are able to provide solutions to the world, and number two, they will preach Jesus. So you're going to see young businessmen, young engineers, young politicians, these young leaders who have capacity to change the world. So they are going to preach Jesus by their relevance in the world, by the impact that they're going to have in the world. And therefore, this is how God will win nations to Himself, because He has chosen Kenya as the place to do it, as one of the nations, and especially in Africa. And He has chosen especially to use, there are millennials, but Gen Zs are the generation that have not been corrupted with the mindset of tribalism, with the mindset of corruption, and all these bad vices. So if you're a young person out there, you're a Gen Z, you believe in Jesus, you want to be used by Him, be in prayer, and also prepare yourself with skills. Look at where the world is heading. Invest yourself, or invest your time in understanding artificial intelligence, because that's where the world is headed. So find your gap, find the skills that you can gain as a person, and start looking at the world as a global village, because there is a grace that God has poured upon Kenya. Okay, so that if you're a young person, there are opportunities that will come for you to step up for leadership within the local leadership. And there are also opportunities that will come for you as a young person within the global platform that will enable you to access the nations of the world and to preach Jesus by providing solutions to the world of man. So I hope that this is clear. I hope that if you're a young person, you start to position yourself that God can use you, that He can send you to the world to affect both your country, Kenya, and the nations of the world. So with that, I think I'll stop it at that. And I pray that this has benefited you as a young person. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you for my next episode. Cheers.